Welcome back to Reselling History, everybody. We got 20 pounds of vintage watches to sort through. That is 20 pounds of watches, not including this little antique cabinet here. There's a wide range of watches. There's vintage, there's a few modern, a lot of watch parts, a lot of them aren't working. And I paid $300 for this whole lot. I bought it on eBay like I usually do. The person I bought it from, he said he wasn't a watchmaker, but he just kind of, you know, it was a little hobby for him. He wasn't too serious about it and he was trying to get out of the hobby. So he sold me all of his watches. Now there is a lot of stuff in here. I'm hoping to find some good watches. Hopefully there are some that is running. And let's get into it, you guys. If you like this type of stuff, please don't hesitate to support the channel by subscribing. Drop a like and a comment, you guys. Let's get into it. Okay, we're starting off with this left drawer, and I'm gonna try to do this in a timely fashion. I'm gonna try not to spend a lot of time on the watches that aren't really worth showcasing. So right off the top here, I see a vintage Seiko. And this is a Seiko Solar. Oh, wow, I've never had a Seiko Solar before. I'm not sure if this is a lady's watch because it is awfully small, the bracelet, unless it's just been adjusted really small like that. So right there, we got a good brand, Seiko. And right here is a vintage Timex. That's a nice looking Timex. Let's see if this is running at all. So the crown is turning, but oh, it does seem like it might be running, which is a good sign. Yeah, this is a nice looking Timex, and I've seen this bracelet before. This is actually a Timex bracelet also. So if this is running, that's a nice, probably $25–30 watch as it is. As you guys can see, there is just so much watches in here. This is probably the biggest lot I've ever purchased so far. A lot of sorting to go through. Let's go to the right drawer, and because I have to pull out a lot of watches, I'm not going to go through all of this stuff here because some of it's just not worth it. All right, let's open up this side. And first up, got a nice little skin diver. And this is made by, I think, what does that say? Fashion Time? Probably just a one jewel movement skin diver from the 70s. This was a really popular style of watch back then. But the crown is not turning, but there's always a market for these skin divers. That's probably a nice $20 watch. Here's another Seiko Kinetic. Oh, that's a pretty neat looking Seiko right there. It's got a nice strap too. So this is, I'm gonna assume this is a quartz watch. You guys probably know better than me. I've never heard of a Kinetic before. I'm not sure what kind of function that has. You guys let me know in the comments what this watch does, but yeah, I'm pretty sure it's a quartz watch after looking at it. But that's a nice looking watch. As far as value, I'm not sure. Maybe $50 watch. Here's another vintage Timex watch, and this is an automatic, and it is running right away, which is a good sign. Pretty cool Timex. Okay, people, so there are so many watches in here. I'm gonna take a second to sort through them and pull out anything that I think is worthy of showcasing. So give me a second. Okay, well, I pulled out 5 vintage stopwatches, and they all seem to be running, which is pretty cool. I've sold some stopwatches in the past. As you can imagine, like, there's not really a hot market for old stopwatches unless you have something really special. But when they do sell, these sell for anywhere from like $20 to $50 a piece. So I'll probably be selling these. Interesting little stopwatches. Let's see what else I found. All right, I found all of these inside, and I kept these together because they're all like from World War I era or like 1920s era. I think, now I'm going to be careful with these. I'm going to wash my hands right away because these are probably radium dials. But you got a lot of cases, which is pretty cool. And I thought this one looks super neat. Look at that. It's kind of like a black dial. Look at the design on that bezel too. Nice. And that says Metro, so that's Metro Watch Company. Missing the crystal. Here's an old Westclocks. I've seen these before. And what do we got here? Brunville. Interesting. And here is a trench watch from World War I. These always sell, even if they're in parts condition like this. But I'm gonna get these wrapped up again because I don't wanna be exposed to too much radium. I got my air purifier in the background. And let's see what other watches I found in the lot. Okay, here is a vintage Timex electric. And I thought this was interesting. This is an old Citizen watch. Probably from the late 70s, early 80s. Unfortunately, that crystal is just really beat up and scratched up, but old Citizen watches are very collectible, so that still might have some value to it. And here is, oh, this is a nice Casio right here. This is a Casiotron. Now, I'm pretty sure this Casio right here, and I barely started learning about Casios a few weeks ago. You guys probably saw in one of my videos, I pulled out a few nice vintage Casios. They have some quite surprising value to them and collectability, and this is another example of that. I'm pretty sure this is like at least $100 Casio watch if it's working. It does have the original bracelet too, and this gold color, gold tone might be a little more desirable than say a silver one, so I'll definitely set that aside. I'll have to test that out. There's a vintage Caravel, got another Caravel. And one thing I noticed in the pictures for this listing, there were a ton of antique ladies watches, and they all seemed like pretty good brands too. Here is a Ollendorf. Wow, that's a neat Art Deco style right there, and I really like the bracelet, that dainty little ladies watch bracelet. It's probably pretty hard to find. Is this running? Yeah, this seems to be running. I don't see a seconds hand though, so maybe it's missing the seconds hand if it's supposed to have one. But that's a neat watch. Here is a vintage, does that say Elgin or something else? Elbon watch. I'll have to check these out just to make sure none of those are gold. And what is this one? Nevada watch. And here is a Liberty watch. Next up, you might be just noticing a single bracelet here. The reason I set this aside is because if you look at the logo here, this is a vintage Zodiac bracelet, and this is a heavy duty watch bracelet, and it is really good quality. Vintage Zodiac, you can see it on the buckle right there, the Zodiac symbol. It snaps up pretty well. Man, this might be worth some good money, really good money. I'm gonna have to do research and find out what watch, Zodiac watch, this goes to. But this is a heavy man's vintage Zodiac bracelet. And you guys let me know in the comments if you recognize this bracelet, which watch it goes to. I'd be really interested to know, because I'm pretty sure this is a rare bracelet, so that's a good find. Okay, so we got some more antique watches. This one says A1 1 jewel. This kind of stood out to me because I think there's a military watch called an A11. I think it's from World War II, used by the Air Force. And it kind of has a similar design, but it just says A1. I don't know if this is just a play on an old A11 watch from back in the day. inexpensive, kind of like a knockoff, but I thought that was interesting. And then we have this right here. Let's see if this is solid gold. Just gold filled, but gold filled is a lot more valuable than it used to be this day and age. Now, that fell off pretty easily, that back case lid. So that's probably gonna might need to be repaired or put on properly. Unfortunately, it's not running, darn it. Yeah, that's not running, and this watch is by, it says Moeris Watch Company, 15 jewel. That's too bad. It's got a neat little, another dainty little woman's bracelet, and this is a metal mesh bracelet too, which you seldom see. So that's a cool find. We have Vintage Ladies Waltham, Vintage Ladies Benris. And this is running too. I can't recall at the moment. I think these antique ladies watches, they're not supposed to have a second hand, but I could be wrong. But that is another old Timex. And you know, it's funny, I just sold one of these almost identical to this. Instead of these sapphire stones, they were emerald stones. I don't know if they were real emeralds, but I sold it. It was just a case. It was a Belova like this. It was missing the crown with a little jewel, and I still sold it for $50. So this is a desirable Belova right here, even in parts condition like this. And this one seems to be running too. So I don't know. Maybe he worked on these ladies' watches. Unfortunately, the bracelet is incomplete, so that's definitely going to affect the value a little bit. Another ladies' watch. We got an old Windsor right here. I've seen those before. And another Benris. A neat looking Elgin. That's a nice Elgin right there. So right here is a pocket watch. And I found this interesting because of this material that the dial is. I think that is mother of pearl material. This top case lid for the dial, it comes off really easily, and crown is not turning, so this is a repair watch. Let me see if this is a sterling case. I think it might be. Yeah, this is definitely a silver case. You can tell right there where it says 0.875, so that's 87.5% silver. And let's see the watch company. It's FSAR Depose. I don't think that's the watch company name, but it sounds European, so this is probably like a French watch movement. But that's pretty cool right there. This is somebody's gonna like this. It's pretty thin too. It's gonna be a nice project watch. Here is an old Waltham 23 jewel. Is this running? That is running. This is a nice watch. If this keeps telling time like that, that's probably a $75 watch. We got a Navoris. This kind of looks military-like, but I don't think this is a man's watch. Looks like a lady's watch. Navoris, interesting. And we have another lady's watch, Belova. Man, just so many of these cute little antique dainty ladies watches. I keep saying dainty. Well, they really are dainty, especially back in the day. This one's not running at all. That's going to be a repair watch. And here, oh man, look at that. Ooh, that thing is beautiful. Beautiful. That says Elaine. Elaine. Good old Elaine. Man, this is a really nice one right here. Is it running? It is ticking so far. I just love the look of that dial. It's somewhat oversized. And then you got the green gemstones. I don't know if they're real emeralds or not. I kind of doubt it. But I'm going to check this case right here and see if this is gold or gold filled. All right, here is that watch case. And unfortunately, it is just a nickel watch case, so not gold or gold filled, but this is an Elaine watch. If this turns out to be running, I do think this is maybe like a $75, maybe $100 watch too. We got an old Hellbros. These are pretty common watches, and seems to be running, but the crown is not turning, and I haven't turned it at all, so probably needs a service. Here is a vintage Sportsman Elgin. These always sell. I actually just sold a Sportsman Elgin for like $50, so this is like a $50 watch. And here is another antique, looks like a lady's watch, kind of pretty cool bezel right there. And then this really surprised me right here. This is a really nice Timex. I know it's kind of hard to see because of that dark looking dial, but this is a Timex automatic, and I'm pretty sure this is a kind of a harder to find model. A way to date these is there's usually the two last digits on the bottom down here. I think it says 80, so this is from 1980. But this is a nice Timex. If I can get a good bracelet or band for this, this is probably like $100 Timex if it is running. So far, it does move when I give it some movement. So I want to show you guys the last watch that I pulled out that I think might be the best watch out of the whole bunch. And that is going to be this vintage Clinton right here. And it's already running. Crown turns really well. But look at that bullseye dial. That probably is from the 1950s. And it's a little worn down there where it's supposed to say non-magnetic shock absorber. It's a little worn, but it does look really nice still. This is probably like $100 watch. Interesting little watch band. Not my preferred choice, but really cool Clinton watch. Man, love the bullseye dial. Super cool. So I'm going to show you guys my favorite watches now. All right, you guys, these are my 4 favorite watches. So I just showed you the Clinton, but I do like this vintage Casio right here. I'm going to have to do some more research on this, but I'm pretty sure this is worth at least $100. I like this old Timex here just because it's pretty oversized. Yeah, very oversized actually, especially for the era, probably from the early 70s, and it seems to be running. And then this 1980 Timex automatic too, super neat dial, pretty good condition. Those are my favorite finds. But this watch lot was no joke at all. It is the biggest watch lot I've ever bought, and I still have more to kind of go through. I think for the most part, I got everything that is worthy of probably selling individually. A lot of parts in here. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. How did I do for 300 bucks? Would you have paid $300 for 20 pounds worth of vintage watches? All right, you guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Don't hesitate, like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one, everybody. Have a good night.